Spider. You're quite a leader. I wouldn't want to have missed sharing this action with you for all the world.
Welcome back to Marvelous Videos. I'm Rylan. First introduced in issue number 194 of The Amazing Spider-Man, Black Cat was someone who quickly made her place in the hearts of the fans. With her charm, wit, and amazing skill set, Black Cat was meant to be a villain for Spider-Woman. But then, she got revamped and added to the Spider-Man universe. However, her role in the Spider-Man comics was not exactly as a villain. She played a multitude of roles while starring next to Spider-Man, sometimes as a friend, and sometimes as a villain, and even sometimes as a lover. So, in today's episode, we'll be delving deeper into whatever Black Cat has gone through in her time in the Spider-Man universe and how she ended up becoming such a well-liked character by the fans. But before we get into our explanation, we do just have one very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just one small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks! Now, let's begin. Story of Felicia Hardy, from being a victim to becoming a Black Cat. The story starts when Felicia was just a child. Felicia's father was Walter Hardy. Walter was a cat burglar. No, he didn't steal cats, although that would be quite a profession to have. No, a cat burglar is someone who enters a building by climbing from the upper story. This type of thief is known to be light on their feet and very adept at climbing and landing softly, just like a cat. When you are world famous in your profession, to a certain degree anyway, there is a pressure on whether or not you can also have a family, or if you can expect your kids to follow your ideals, if not your footsteps. Walter, being the world-renowned cat burglar that he was, understood the pressure of being the best in whatever you do. Half-assing anything was not an option in his career, and he instilled those ideals upon Felicia. Felicia grew up knowing that if she wanted something, she should go out and get it specifically, not something that comes second to it. In Walter's words, if Felicia wanted to play basketball, she should become a basketball player and not a cheerleader, as that takes her out of the whole game. With this type of high ideals in her head and directing her morals, Felicia set out to live her life. However, the world is a cruel place, and Felicia was sadly dealt a bad hand in the game of life. College is pretty similar for all of us, heroes or readers. Felicia ended up in one such college while she was in her freshman year. Liquor and music flew in the air when Felicia came across a drunk student. While finding a drunk student wasn't exactly out of place when it comes to college parties, what was really out of place was this guy's behavior. The man tried to force himself on Felicia. At this moment, another student named Ryan came to Felicia's rescue. The trauma of this incident brought the two teens together. Felicia and Ryan ended up becoming quite close to one another. This closeness, however, came to an extremely terrible conclusion when Ryan demanded sex from Felicia while they were alone together. Felicia was not ready, and she refused, but all of her protests fell onto deaf ears. Since her childhood, Felicia has been a powerhouse, so when she admittedly decides to kill her rapist instead of letting him walk free, we understand exactly what she's going through. With the thought of murder on her mind, Felicia put aside her studies. She focused all of her energy on her training, and soon enough, Felicia was ready for her revenge. But the world, once again, is unfair. Instead of giving her the satisfaction of taking her revenge on the man who ruined her life, as it turns out, Ryan was killed in a car accident. This ultimately shattered Felicia. When you're dealt a bad hand, one way to get out of it is to change the whole deck, which is exactly what Felicia did. But instead of letting her training go to waste, she decided to follow in her father's footsteps. When she was arrested, Black Fox, her father's mentor, freed her. Taking her under his wing, Black Fox helped Felicia to polish her skills and become the best in her field. Even though she was training with Tamara, who was better at everything than Felicia, Black Fox preferred Felicia, because Felicia actually felt joy from stealing things. When Felicia had quite the amount of wealth, she decided to take on a costumed identity. The first time she put on the costume is also the first time that she met Spider-Man. Sparks flew in Felicia's heart, and she almost becomes the love-struck girl once again, despite her trauma and general distrust of men. Using her costumed identity as a shield, Felicia is obsessed with the superhero. She tried to earn his trust and affection. Every time she was caught, Felicia feigned mental instability so that the prison she'd go to would be less guarded and she would be able to slip out with ease. Once out, Felicia tries one last time to get Spider-Man to join her on the other side, but Spider-Man was ready to help Black Cat join the other side in his case, having his friend, Captain D-Wolf, draw up amnesty papers. When Spider-Man realized that Black Cat simply wanted to manipulate him, he tried to catch her. Not wanting to go to jail, however, Black Cat made her dramatic exit by flinging herself off the building, to her supposed death. Black Cat's long-awaited moment to shine in Marvel Comics. Black Cat is clearly serious about her feelings for Spider-Man. In her eyes, if she could just prove herself to be worthy, perhaps Spider-Man would look her way. As luck would have it, she finally got the opportunity to shine in the comics. As she is still a villain, Black Cat gets a very crucial piece of information from Kingpin. She learned about this powerful detonator that was in Kingpin's possession. She also learned that fellow villains like the Owl and Dr. Octopus were after this detonator as well. The Owl wanted to use it to hold the city hostage, while Dr. Octopus wanted to use it to destroy the city. Clearly, if this ended up in either hand, New York City would not be having a good day. As she is a cat burglar, Black Cat easily got the detonator away from Kingpin and hid it. Once she thought the coast was clear, she gave it to Spider-Man. This act put her on the radar for Doc Ock, specifically on his revenge plan. Spider-Man intervened, and while he could rip the arms off, as we know, the Doc is able to control them manually. By using this manual override, he held Black Cat in place and had his men fire at him. Spider-Man barely managed to get out of the hospital on time. As Felicia was getting operated on, with dozens of bullets and knife wounds, Spider-Man realized how much he cared for this girl and started to fall in love with her. After she came back to her senses, they started dating. Peter, not wanting to keep anything a secret, revealed his identity to Felicia. However, for Felicia, this was quite a shock. The fact that under that mask it was just a man truly shocked Felicia. She could not understand why Peter was so desperate for a civilian life without the hassles of being a superhero. Even though this was something important, they both kept dating, in the hopes that things would eventually sort themselves out. Now, Felicia is a civilian. She doesn't have any powers, and because of that, Felicia felt like she was not Spider-Man's equal. So when Spider-Man was not around while the secret wars were happening, Felicia decided to finally become his equal. She was not accepted by either the Avengers or the Fantastic Four. When she was at her wit's end, she was offered a process that would allow her to have superpowers. She agreed, as this was the same process that Scorpion and Fly went through. Once the procedure was done, she learned that the source was Kingpin. Black Cat ended up with bad luck power. This power affected Spider-Man as well, to whom she had kept these powers hidden. This bad luck aura that now surrounded Peter as well was exactly what Kingpin wanted. This put Peter in a lot of terrible situations. Peter broke up with Felicia and decided to do something about this. So Peter went to see Doctor Strange, and when Doctor Strange had told him about the bad luck, Peter assumed that Felicia did it intentionally. With that thought in mind, Peter insisted that Doctor Strange fix this issue, even after Doctor Strange had warned him about the consequences. Once the procedure was reversed, Peter's luck was back, and Felicia's bad luck was gone, but was replaced with actual powers of strength, agility, and retractable claws. Felicia proceeded to update her style and outfit, and soon enough, they rekindled their relationship. Together, as a team, they fought against the likes of Foreigner. This time, Felicia seemed to accept his need for a civilian life without hesitation. And then Peter found out the truth. Turns out, Felicia never forgave him for breaking up with her, and as revenge, she had become the Foreigner's lover. However, even through all the ruse and betrayal, Black Cat still falls in love with Peter. Overwhelmed with her emotions, she double-crossed Foreigner and fell away to Europe to take a break. However, when she returned, she was informed by Venom that while she was gone, Peter and Mary Jane Watson had gotten together, and they were married. This led to Felicia acting up. She got herself a boyfriend, Peter's friend Flash Thompson, and kept taunting the couple. But soon, Felicia realized how futile her efforts were, and she let go of the anger and resentment she held in her heart. She ended up being on friendly terms with both of them. She even helped Peter to find the device that took away his powers. But this device also took away Black Cat's powers. So later, she purchases devices from the Tinkerer and adds them to her costume to make up for her lost abilities, and keeps helping her ex-lover for days to come. Black Cat becomes Queenpin. While being a superhero surely is noble, Black Cat always did her thing for the joy that she felt. Growing bored of her life, she decided to resume her villain days. She got her bad luck powers back thanks to Doc Trauma. Doc Trauma also added in cybernetic retractable claws for her, which made her villainy all the more interesting. As her luck would have it, her ex-lover, Spider-Man, ended up stumbling across her while she was doing a break-in. Understandably, sparks flew once again, and they started a casual relationship, with masks on all the time. The on-again, off-again duo decided to team up against Mr. Negative. Black Cat stole a vial of Spidey's blood from Mr. Negative and then sold it to the vampires. This led Spider-Man coming face-to-face with Morbius. While they faced off, Felicia was forced to work with Sasha Kravinoff because they had her mother as collateral. The duo parted ways romantically when Spider-Man started dating Charlie. However, that didn't stop Felicia from saving Spider-Man when he was captured by Doc Trauma. Soon after, Felicia was imprisoned under false charges of stealing a projector from Horizon Labs. She was framed, and Felicia was not going to let it slide. She went on a wild goose chase to figure out who framed her, and she came across Daredevil and Spider-Man. Together, the three of them ended up at Horizon Labs. Turns out the scientist, named Wasserschmidt, was forced by Terra 1 to commit the theft. When Black Cat and Daredevil reached Terra 1, they find out that Black Spectre is also after the projector as well. While Daredevil tried to stop everything, Black Cat met the mastermind of the plan. The mastermind had a job for her. She had to get the Omega Drive, this piece of tech that had the data of every villain in the universe. This drive was in possession of Matt Murdock, also known as Daredevil. Felicia tried to get into a relationship with him in order to get to the Omega Drive. She had the opportunity to steal the drive, but she chose not to, because she actually was in love with Matt. She warned him about Black Spectre, and went into hiding to protect herself. Tired of this lifestyle, Black Cat started to save money to retire. While she was in hiding, Dr. Octopus had swapped places with Spider-Man and had taken over his life. This is why when Black Cat and Spider-Man meet again, he attacks her and leaves her in the hands of the police. This leads to her items being repossessed, and she is now in the hands of the police. None of her contacts want to stay in touch with her. When she finally gets out of jail because of Electro, she vows to make Spider-Man regret what he did to her. He puts on a new costume and goes out for vengeance. She partnered with Electro, and together, they set their sights on the Parker Industries. Using Electro as a pawn, Felicia made sure to build a reputation in the underworld. Together, they went into Parker Industries and interrupted a press conference. When they tried to unmask Spider-Man, which was stopped thanks to Syl, Spidey's new ally, to make a point, they attack a device that was made to depower Electro. This proved to be a good move because this machine did its job, and Electro was soon put out of commission. This led to Felicia cutting ties with him and becoming the Queenpin, a crime lord with her own gang of superpowered villains. Black Cat needs a fresh start. While she managed her own crime gang, Lee Prince stole the Mania symbiote and used that to make his own gang. This led to a rivalry between the two. He poured pieces of the symbiote into people to gain manpower, and once he had enough, he attacked Black Cat. He forced the symbiote into them and took control. He did this because Black Cat's organization was invited to the meet and greet equivalent of the crime lords from all over the world, and using her gang, Lee wanted to take over the other big crime families. When Spider-Man and Anti-Venom came across Felicia, she forced herself to come into contact with Anti-Venom, with whatever will she had to destroy the symbiote in her hand. Felicia joined forces and worked to get more Anti-Venom serum. She informed the alliances about Lee, and with Anti-Venom-laced weapons, they were able to hold him off. Lee used the pieces of symbiote left to merge other people with him, making him stronger. At first, the symbiote was winning, and then Felicia noticed that anybody who had been infected with the Maniac, then got free using Anti-Venom, now had immunity. This led to Spider-Man giving Anti-Venom some of his blood, which gave him enough boost to neutralize Maniac. When everything was done and dusted, Felicia returned to nothing. Her fame and clout were all gone. Venom, who had a rocky relationship with Felicia, tried to be friendly and tell her to take it as a fresh start, the break that she always needed, but Felicia proceeded to brush him aside. The transformation of Black Cat into the Queen in Black. When Null was invading Earth, Felicia and her gang were out doing some stealing, as one does of course, but she came across a symbiote dragon. This piqued her interest and she tried to find answers. She saw the Avengers fighting against symbiotes. Captain America requested her to save Doctor Strange before he and the other superheroes could succumb to the symbiotes. So Black Cat now planned to steal Doctor Strange from Null. She met with Steve, and after she had Anti-Venom in her, off she went. She recruited Bats the ghost dog to help her on her mission. She had to find the Doctor and bring him his Yggdrasil staff. When she broke Doctor Strange out of prison and was escaping with a horde of symbiotes chasing her, she tried to use the staff herself to wake Doctor Strange up. The magic from the staff tempted her and taunted her quite a bit, almost succeeding, but Black Cat resisted. The whole magic spell broke when it suggested that it could make Spider-Man and all her other love interests fall in love with her once again. By this time, she was done with the magic, and Doctor Strange was awake. He complimented Black Cat for resisting, but Felicia was not having any of that. She wanted her and her crew to be safe, and she asked for it. She handed over the staff to Doctor Strange when Marvel Girl informed Doctor Strange about her power. Once the symbiote invasion was avoided, Black Cat went back to her old life as Eddie Brock emerged with the God of Light. Back to the Limbo. New York City getting attacked by demons is not exactly something that happens very often. So when NYC was under attack, Black Cat, who had been attacking Peter, again decided that she would go and protect Mary Jane, who was now with Paul. When she showed up at her place, it turns out that Mary Jane had her own powers. Before they can process that, Belasco opens a portal and brings the ladies into Limbo. In this Limbo, Belasco tells them to get the soul sword from the Screaming Tower. They were given a soul compass by Belasco, which led them to meet Sim, a monster. Together, the trio made their way to get the sword, only to realize that there were others after the sword as well. Felicia is anxious about her relationship with Peter, and telling MJ about it seems like a very bad idea while they were going through so much, so she chooses to keep it hidden. This in turn made Black Cat see MJ as a threat, which in turn affected Mary Jane's abilities because of Felicia's bad luck power. When confronted by Mary Jane, Felicia confesses. As Mary Jane and Felicia were on friendly terms before, Mary Jane didn't exactly take this news very kindly. However, with teamwork, Mary Jane, Felicia, and Sim defeat the Guardian monster. Now the Soul Sword had bonded with both of the ladies, who would make it difficult for them to leave Limbo. But because Mary Jane and Felicia are friends and no critical thinking, they realize that if they work together, the burden of the artifact will lower, and they will no longer be bonded, which would allow them to leave. Belasco could not believe that they had successfully duped him, and it turns out they had lied to him about leaving Sim. They never left him for dead. As Sim has the soul compass and the ladies give him the soul sword, he becomes Belasco's boss. He offers the ladies to stay, but they refuse. Belasco opens a portal again, and they go back home. While Felicia is still anxious about their relationship, when Mary Jane introduces her to her family as her friend, Felicia all of a sudden feels much better. Felicia and Peter's relationship goes strong, because this time around, Peter shows up for her. Whether it's by offering to watch the stars with her, or simply being honest with her about his feelings for his ex-lover, Mary Jane.
Cool it, Spider. I'm on your side.
Other media appearances of Black Cat. With how beautifully Felicia has bloomed over the years since her first introduction, it would have been a shame if the fans never got the media appearances of Black Cat. That is why there have been many media appearances over the years. When it comes to movies, Amazing Spider-Man 2, starring Andrew Garfield, actually has Felicia in the movie. She is played by the phenomenal actress Felicity Jones. Here, Felicia is Harry's assistant. She is an Oscorp employee and has quite in-depth knowledge about the company. The film producers had teased her Black Cat arc in future movies. Movies aside, Black Cat has been seen on television far more times. In the 80s television series called Spider-Man, we see her in the Curiosity Killed Spider-Man episode. This was her only appearance where she challenged Spider-Man to stop her from stealing a Maltese mouse. Here, she is voiced by Morgan Lofting. In the Spider-Man animated series, voiced by Jennifer Hale, Felicia is a spoiled rich girl who shares classes with Peter. Peter tried to take her on dates, but Felicia turned him down each time. In Season 4, we finally see Black Cat come into play. She joins forces with Spider-Man and fights crime. In Spectacular Spider-Man, the Cat and the Spider meet while Black Cat is trying to steal a symbiote. They flirt and they banter, bouncing off one another perfectly. In the episode titled Persona, at the end, Felicia and Peter kiss, because Felicia wants to hide a necklace that she stole. She comes back again in the second season of the show, but only for 2 episodes. Here, Tricia Hefflier uses her voice to bring the character to life. In Marvel's Spider-Man, Grey Griffin voices a Black Cat who shows up in the episode titled A Day in the Life, and she is trying to steal something from Horizon High, a black liquid from space. By the end of the episode, Spider-Man concludes that Black Cat steals things as a job, as in she has an employer, and that she is not willing to give that out. And with that, we've covered all television appearances of Black Cat. Which one is your favorite? Marvelous verdict. Black Cat has gone on quite a few adventures throughout her years in the comic series. She has done a lot of good things, and she's also done a lot of bad things as well, but her character growth has definitely been one of the most enjoyable to witness. Owing to this, Black Cat is very close to a lot of the fans, and we hope with today's episode, we have done her character justice. What are your thoughts? Are you a fan of Black Cat? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed our content, then don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, have a good one and be safe.